Hello friends again. If you watched the video that I uploaded earlier today, I just wanted to talk about something that I think that anyone who's had spiritual psychosis or continues to live with it, even if you have, psychotic episodes, perhaps you'll even appreciate what I'm getting at here, because when I've talked to people with psychosis, I seem to understand what they're saying and they understand me in return. So, but something that I want to talk about in particular pertains to the insurgence of things like anger and resentment when it comes to those of us that experience these kinds of symptoms. Because when the madness catches me and I start feeling resentful, I'll start justifying why they ought to be the one that feels the resentment that I'm currently feeling. And then I will try to flip the script in my mind so that I am then absorbing their energy and playing out what they are internally feeling. And although these things could be true, because there's certainly situations that I've found myself receiving confirmation about the suspected beliefs that I've had. And I'm sure that you have too. If you have experienced spiritual psychosis in particular, then you probably really do understand what I'm saying here. But the thing is, we aren't going to be able to transcend these situations unless we look at it from the perspective of our own resentments. And I don't know your situation. I can only talk about mine. And I believed, it's quite a lot to really get into, but I had a set belief system of who I was that concurred with diagnoses I'd received over the years. And when I experienced my spiritual psychosis, those diagnoses were stripped from my record because I didn't want to be diagnosed as schizophrenic, and I put all my effort into proving that I wasn't schizophrenic. And I lost 8 diagnoses, including some personality disorders and neurodiversity, and I'm on the other side with CPTSD, and that's it. And, the visions are classified as flashbacks, and so, losing that identity of being, messed up, then I kind of swung too far in both directions, and I swung too far in the ego side, I suppose, because I was so, confirmation, I was never the problem. It was everybody around me lying to me, gaslighting me, dragging me to doctors that put me in the situation where I had this diagnosis. And now I can prove to you that A, I'm psychic as hell, and B, that I'm not sick. And then as a result, the fact that I'm so far behind in my life has come to the forefront. Most people my age, and I look quite good for my age, particularly with this lighting, I'm not interested in telling you how old I am because I want to continue with the illusion. But, you know, people my age, some of them have been married multiple times. Some of them have children through more than one marriage and own multiple houses. And I have done a lot of things, but not like the normal things. And having a career in particular is not a thing that I have necessarily. I am in my first career and, 6 years in the industry, and I'm still there. So, but prior to that was 6 years of unemployment. Because I thought I was sick. And so, although there was all this pride about everything that I'd achieved, there was this backlash of suddenly holding myself to the same standards that society holds itself to. Prior to that, I was outcast and unacceptable, and so I had no standards, particularly in my dating life. Oh my God. Quite funny that I said it that way when I think about it. Like, I had no standards, and that came down to me and my life and everything. Like, if you knew the kind of car that I drive, it's nothing to write home about, but at least people placate me by going like, well, it'll never stop going. And I'm always like, yeah, because I spent my money well, kind of thing. But it's like, you don't have any money. So I don't know why you're so egotistical about it. And that's what I'm trying to say about resentment and things like that. See, I know that when I'm not fully aware of the hole that I've dug myself, because I forget a lot of the time, it's a process, right? And I don't have anybody to talk to about these things. And like, I talk to people around and people who've known me throughout it all, but they don't get it. But the thing is, I know that there's people out there that know what I'm talking about. And I watched this episode of Hoarders the other day with, I think the woman's name was Darlene, and she was very, very, very spiritual and kept on stopping the process and going like, this is all too 3D for me. I'm 5D, you're all projecting, etc. And I'm like, God, it sounds like me when I'm in one of those spirals. Like, I get that way. So I know what she's feeling, and looking at it from an observer perspective, it's like, no, honey, this is all you. And so by watching that episode, it's really like kind of helped me see a few things where, yeah, like the thing is, yeah, there probably is that friction of energies where some of it is theirs and some of it is yours. See, there's a lot of things about me as an example where certain things I have or certain things I've done could interrogate is the word that I'm feeling is the right one, but that's like a philosophical version of the word interrogate. Interrogates beliefs other people have of themselves, and that interrogation of the belief system is something that I feel and absorb, and then therefore I start interrogating the same elements of myself. And because I am so overwhelmed and I struggle so much in social situations these days because I don't have the identity that I held on to for, I don't want to reveal how old I am, all those years of having this identity that's been stripped away. And then if I have like any of my beliefs interrogated, I am fragile. Oh my God, like the agony of it all. And so it's making me experience things that I've never experienced before, because I never held myself to the same standards as everybody else. I was always really, really grateful and felt very lucky for the opportunities that I had. But when I would be experiencing them, I would be nearly disappointed in them. And that's not because I was disappointed, but it's because, you know, I couldn't feel it, I suppose, you know. And like say you've come across like a beautiful waterfall or something like that, and the person that you're with just goes, oh my God, oh God, it's so beautiful. And I would be the kind of person who'd be like, are you faking what you're feeling? Sorry, I keep on playing with my bangs, but like, see, I can't stop. I can see myself in the cam and I'm just like, oh God, my frizzy bits are everywhere. I didn't do my hair because I'm not quite at that stage of making videos that I'm going to wear makeup, because your girl can't afford makeup because somebody stole all their makeup. Like $300 worth of makeup. Hold on. Hope you're happy. Anyway, my spiritual psychosis, people. What I'm trying to get at here is that anger and those resentments. If you aren't able to see how they're yours, don't be mad at yourself. Like, what the processes that are going on at the moment are so extreme, and if you're in the same boat as I am, then I truly am sorry for you, because it's been a nightmare. And I know everyone's been going through a lot. We've all been going through a hell of a lot for a long time, you know. Like, I don't know how much you guys remember 2016, but I remember that first week of 2016, how everybody was going like, God, this is going to be the worst year ever. And then every year since then, it just got crazier and crazier. But, you know, if you ask me, this started back in 2008, because whatever happened with the global financial crisis, the results weren't what we should have let happen. And the world hasn't made sense to me ever since then. Anyway, if my sister ever watches this, you probably realize this about me, but I hold so much resentment about my sister, because I always view it like my mom had her in ideal circumstances. Not going to go into any details. Ideal circumstances for my mother. And when I was born, the circumstances were vastly different, and my mom was very unhappy. And so it is without a doubt that my mom had postpartum with me. So she bonded with my sister, but not me. And my dad wasn't really around. I don't know if he was more around when my sister was born, but it was like 2 years, so it's not like the biggest deal there. But there's a lot of photographs of her as a baby, and not anywhere near as many for me. And my sister's gone on to be quite successful in all the endeavors that she's gone through. And on a spiritual psychosis note, like, I'll look at her birth chart and be like, why do I seem more like what she ought to be than what she is. Like, she's got a Pisces moon but doesn't act anything like a Pisces moon. Like, yeah, aside from being a little off with the fairies, but that's it. And everyone treats her like such a Libran, but she's only a Libra sun. I've got a Libra stellium, so I'm even more Libra than her. But people treat me like I'm an evil Scorpio because that's what my mother always said. Like, I just knew that you'd turn into a Scorpio. And anyway, like, that's just how ridiculous the thoughts can get. Like, she's stolen my energy to the point that she's living out my timeline and I'm living out hers. Potentially, but realistically, not realistically, but if you take it into human design terms, my sister's a projector and I'm a generator. So if anything, I have pushed myself into her. Which is kind of what I'm getting at with this resentment thing, because what I find with my experiences, and this is a brand new thought, so I'm not extremely coherent on it, and if you are watching this, thank you. Please comment if you have any opinions here, because this to me is a discussion board. I don't know if you're finding it interesting. Hi, viewer. Somebody watched the last one, so appreciate you. So what I've started to think about how the universe is operating at the moment is it's kind of like the whole Judgment Day thing where, there's those that are left behind and those that move on. And I feel like I have been slowly like upgrading, if you will. And I don't really like that term because it denotes that one is better than the other. And I, again, Libra stellium, don't really like the concept of better and worse. I don't really believe in good and bad. I just believe in not aligned, if you will, or corrupt. Though there's certain things that I do have a stance on, even though my brain will try to justify them. It's very frustrating. Anyway, so when I feel like somebody has difficult, dark emotions regarding me, I've realized that those difficult thoughts that I am perceiving from that person is perceptions that I have grown accustomed to receiving of myself, that I am continuing to project into this new timeline. And so that's why, for me, and I'm sure you, if you have spiritual psychosis, feels like things are kind of in a Groundhog Day, like they just keep repeating and going on and on and on. And you might feel like you're ready to step out of that, but you just can't seem to move. And I would suggest that that means that there's certain things that you haven't quite got yet to be able to move to the next point. And for me, moving to the next point was showing up more at my gym. Like, I was always going to the gym, but I have now participated in a few like extracurricular things. And it's as though the perception of me has been altered in their minds, and my perception of myself has been altered in my own mind, because I feel like I am one of the fit people that is allowed to be there to participate in these extracurricular things. Because when I started going like a year and a half ago, I was not one of the fit people, but I pushed, and I lost 20 kilos, and I still push quite a lot. But yeah, unfortunately, the way I'm perceiving reality at the moment is very akin to a game like Skyrim or Morrowind and Elder Scrolls, where if you go to an area that you're not quite leveled up to, then you just like fucking nah, you can't go in there yet. Or you can try to do it if you're under, but you're gonna have to do some sneaky things to get by, like Sneaker Archer, for example. And you're not really getting the full experience, so you might want to go back there later when you're a bit higher level. And that's kind of how it's playing out. Now, I'm going to run out of available space to make this video, but I just want to preface and end this by saying if you have spiritual psychosis or you get really in your head about a lot of this stuff, I really want to emphasize to you that if I make a comment like it's as though the world is a bit of a video game, try not to buy into it too deeply. Because if you're like me and you spiral out on that kind of stuff and then you suddenly think that you're the only thing in existence, which I can justify to make it into reality if you really want to hear that rant, but I don't suggest you listen to me that much because I have rationalized this all to get schizophrenia crossed off as a possibility for what's wrong with me. Like, bear that in mind. It's not something I'm overly proud of. It's a nightmare in here. But, you know, I think that there is a future and a place that we are heading toward. It's just nothing, the rules of how the world worked are not the same as they were. And if you need to believe that we're in a simulation, so be it. I have always loved the earth, so I don't want to believe that it's not there, you know. So I might be delusional if the earth isn't real, you know, potentially not. I often get confused about why I can't walk through walls, but, you know, it's fine. One day. Thanks for watching. Let's pull a couple of cards because I've got like 2 minutes before this video is going to cut out. Yeah, you know, if I feel like making more videos to the spiritual psychosis community, then I might just do that because Lord knows we're not represented well and there's not a lot out there that really supports living in the real world with these beliefs and thoughts, you know. You can go way too far down the rabbit hole and yeah, everything will tie together in the end, but do you want to be that guy or do you want to not be that guy? And I don't really want to be that guy. I want to just kind of have a bit more of a regular existence. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, you can have these beliefs and, you know, operate in a 5D mindset, make your world spiritual in its own right. Like, my church is my gym. You know, it doesn't have, like, if you believe in a creator God, then the hell is that God gonna care where you make your worship? Like, if God is everything, then God's gonna enjoy your worship no matter what form it comes in. And I can make that disgusting if I need to. Like, God, if we're conceptualizing that it exists, is all of this. So if I were God, then I would be fascinated to see what each, like, offspring that I make decides is the best way to show me who I am. Because I'd probably just find it kind of amusing because I'm a weirdo. So's God, though. You know, God is a weirdo. All right, we've got 15 seconds. So we've got teaching and learning, we've got manifestation, and we've got adventure.